So this is recording right now.
It is.
Okay. Fuck, it's been ages.
Why did you stop me? Well,
I don't know. It's just, and the weird thing is, it's been ages since that red button's been on, but it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
sort of like the whole world stops until we hit the red button again. And now we've hit the red button. It's like
have we talked about this before? The fact that when you record something, it changes it. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, it's got to do with if something is being documented.
Yep.
The aura around whatever's being documented changes. Like as soon as you take a photograph of something, it's not the same from your lens in real world. It's like it's changed somehow.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I always think about that like the observer effect, right? Which is supposedly, you know, the act of observing something changes something, which obviously is true. That's why anthropology is such a problematic science. But then I heard that actually isn't the true explanation for quantum physics, and it's not about observing it. It's actually about like light itself, and that in order for something to be observed, it needs light, right? And it's the light that is the thing that's changing the outcome, not like the consciousness of the observer, right?
Yeah.
So you need to shine light on something in order for the thing to be observable, and because you're shining light on something, that light itself is changing the thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but also that's possibly not true because I'm not a fucking quantum.
No, it's totally true. And that can be in the observation. Like you're changing the atmosphere of the room. You're changing. So
pressing the red button.
Pressing the red button for me right now is like our conversation is really different now. It's kind of forced.
Yep.
I'm aware of what I'm saying somehow.
Yeah.
And I would like to be more comfortable in my body around the red button and around you.
Great cold open there, Mel.
Hi.
Have you ever had the experience of being in class or just even in public, like filmed as like an act of like aggression?
Once I started filming just some racist prick, and then they started filming me back. Do you know what I mean? They weren't being racist to me. They were being racist to someone else, and I thought that was a weapon. Do you know what I mean? Like I could use against them to stop.
Definitely.
And they just then turned their weapon on me, and it was really weird because I had nothing. Like all I was doing was recording and documenting them being an arsehole, and they were recording and documenting me recording them being an arsehole. So it was a strange, paradox to that. Yeah, it happened again. It was a police story. I don't know if it's that exciting. I was being arrested for not wearing... No, I was just being arrested for crossing in Redfern, for crossing the white line on my bike where the stop sign is. Not the stop sign. It was a red light. Yeah. I rode my bike in front of the cars and I went past the white line. And I stopped there and I was waiting. And on the other side of the road, there was cars parked up past the, the light turned red, and they were like in that zone where you have to keep on going and we're stopped. Yep. And when it went green, I went around them because I'm on a push bike. I can do that. And there was a motorbike cop behind me, and he pulled me over, and I didn't know why. And he wanted to see my license. And apparently you don't have to, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have to show them a license if you're on a push bike because you're not a registered vehicle, and you don't have to. So I refused. I was lying. I said I don't have it on me because I knew that he wanted to book me for something. And I said, what did I do wrong? He said, he's looking for anything. He went past the white line. I go, come on, are you serious? Like I stopped at the lights. Is that a thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, and what about the 6 cars in front of me that are stopped? And it was really weird. I was starting to be filmed by this other bike rider, and the other bike rider was being aggressive towards the police officer, like just saying things like, don't do anything, don't say anything to the cop. It was like this, older 60-year-old, what do you call those dudes, male white men in lycra? Oh, yeah. Mammals, right? Yeah. And I'm just on my fixie, in my jeans and my thing, coming back from UTS, I think it was at the time. And the cop, was getting aggravated because this dude was filming us. It was like this act of aggression. And I was saying, hey, I don't know this guy. Like, you know, I just want to go home. Like, leave me. And he goes, if you don't produce your license, I'm going to arrest you. And I went, okay, just arrest me. And then he proceeded to take his handcuffs out. And I said, I'm like willingly being arrested. Like, you don't have to handcuff me. That's a sign of... I didn't understand this. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm willing. Like, arrest me. You know what I mean? Like, I'll find out how weird this situation goes. And I like to poke fire. You've seen that.
Shit. Yeah.
You've seen it once or twice. But only like, 18 years or something like that you've known me.
Yeah. But I know it's in you.
Yeah. So I go, arrest me. This will kind of be a fun story to tell when I go home. Like, I'm all for those stories, right? And I was like really being kind of cool about it. Well, and so he's arresting me in the most aggressive way possible because I'm being filmed. And he's telling this guy off, but I'm the body. So he really put the handcuffs on tight, super tight, that it was hurting. I was like, why are you doing that? And then he goes, sit down. I went, I don't have to sit down. Like, I'm willingly being arrested, dude. Redfern cop station's like 20 meters away. Like, just take me there, right? So I can explain to someone else, like, you're being weird, right? And he kicked my legs underneath me and put me flat on the ground. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here? And I had such adrenaline in my body at that point that nothing was hurting. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like
in that.
State of shock. Like, this is really escalated. And all I could think about was not the cop, but this guy filming still. And I'm going in my head, like, this is how weird I am, right? I wonder if this is going to be on YouTube. I wonder if it's going to be like one of those like stories that go viral. And it didn't. There was nothing out there. The guy didn't press, like, he didn't put it out there. He's just doing it for himself.
So it's in his own little archive somewhere.
And I can't find it.
When was this?
Years ago, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago. I don't know. So my wrists actually just feel better now. Like, they were both. Like, they were damaged and it was hurting. So anyway, he radios in the cops. All these cops come out of Redfern police station. It was weird. It was at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 police came out, right? I was asking for my bike to be, like, not left on the street. So one of them, and then the biggest guy, who was like, you know, obviously Mediterranean looking, Arabic or something like that, the cop grabs me from underneath one arm, right? Another cop grabs me from my legs were in the air, and another cop is holding my handcuffs, you know, the chain between them, and it was really hurting my hands, right? So, like, I couldn't get away. And the biggest cop, and it was the only person I felt safe with, because he was Mediterranean looking, right? He goes, just turns to me and goes, what'd you do? I go, across the white line on the, like, in a calm voice, across the white line in the traffic there when it was red, and I stopped for the red lights, and it's escalated from this, do you know what I mean? And I go, because I just didn't want to give the cop my license because I didn't want to get a fine for crossing the white line. Like, explained it to him as we're walking, as they're carrying me in pain. And straight away, this side of my body felt lighter because he was like, his aggression just left. And he goes, oh, that's fucked. And as soon as I went in, he told the superintendent, sergeant, whatever they're called, you know, the person. And they had to make the other cop apologize to me, right? And that was that. Like, that's all. So this guy apologized to me, and I was on my way. So it was like this half an hour of heightened toxic anxiety that came over me. And they let me go. They put me in the cell for a little bit while they're talking to him. It was this, like, weird cell, like this weird place where, like, this weird second place of the police station where you go through, like this weird dirty elevator. You go up. And then there was this, like, weird cell that was this probably half the size of this room, like that. And it was like a big glass wall that they close on you. But it was like literally closed for like a minute. You know, and then it was open. It was just like a boom, 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 boom.
Wow. Man, I have like, I have so many questions. Yeah, like I wonder whether or not the fact that you were being filmed by someone is why they like didn't do anything, whether or not that cop was an advocate there, whether or not the cop that obviously abused you was like known. Yeah.
It was really weird because I had like, you know, a moment when he was kicking my legs out of me and standing up again because of my pride, kept on doing it, boom, 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 until my face went on the ground. And I go, man, you're just doing this because you're a fucking racist. You know what I mean? Like I said, like I had to say something back, right?
Yeah,
you know, I'm being filmed, so I thought I would do a racial thing, right?
Yeah. That'll improve the algorithm.
Yeah.
I can just imagine like Channel 7 News. Like, it's like that was 7 years ago. That was that kind of thing, you know, racist rant caught on train.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what I thought I would do. That's what I thought. That's the point of this. Right? And all these things played into account, like, you know, when the sergeant goes, where are you coming from? Like, who cares where I was coming from? I could come from anywhere. But just when I said, like, I was just teaching a class at UTS, blah, 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 I was commuting back home. Like, it didn't look good for that cop. Do you know what I mean? But then I kind of said, I actually remember saying, why does that matter? Like, who am, like, does it matter? Does it give me a different type of status to someone else?
Yeah.
A month later, I got a fine in the mailbox from Bankstown Police Station for doing that thing, running the red light. It was like $80.
Wow.
So, and I went to the Redfern cops and they're like, no, it's out of the police station's hands. Like they said they can advocate for me.
They can advocate for the thing that they find you for.
Yeah, but they can't. They can advocate for me, like I can get a letter from the sergeant saying, you know, they let me go and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's in now the government, you know, like there's a fine area that it goes to. So it goes out of their area. And like they just suggested that I write a letter to get off the fine. And I was like, I can't be fucked. And I just paid this $80. And I was like, this is like, that was weird. Yeah. But I saw it as like an $80 show, like I was at the theater. But I was the actor. It was really weird. That's how I tried to make my, like, not be traumatized by it.
Yeah.
And I kind of let myself go there. It was a strange thing. I remember letting myself go there, being part of this.
Like in the moment?
In the moment, yeah. Something left my body and I was a spectator from outside and I was looking at this from a different perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does make sense.
I've done a lot of talking.
It sounds like in that kind of traumatic, high stressful situation, drawing on performance as a way to sort of separate yourself from the moment. Yeah. But also to find like the courage, right? I mean, as you kind of keep telling the details, it's like, you know, it wasn't just that you got kicked down once. You got kicked down,
a few times.
It was like, back up. And it's sort of like, like I get that, you know, you weren't being aggressive, but you were also not being submissive in that sense.
I was resisting.
Yeah.
And in that resistance, I remember that whole performative thing was like, I tell people I'm a punk, so I'm going to act like a punk. And this guy's exposing who I am.
Yeah.
But he didn't mean to. He thought I'd just be complacent and all that stuff. I wasn't just going to suffer this foolish behavior. But I would have got away with it completely if it wasn't for this dude filming me and making it aggressive. Do you know what I mean? Like where it came from. Like this whole act of recording changed that whole situation.
Yeah.
Right? And getting into the cop's face and yelling at the cop, like, don't do that. I was like, who is this guy? I didn't like that guy. I was like, go away. Let me
be arrested in peace.
Well, I probably wouldn't have been arrested.
No.
That's the thing. Like that cop wouldn't have gone, you know, hey, where's your license? I haven't got it, too bad. All right, see you later. Get his notebook out and write my name and address down. It's happened to me before, you know, things like that.
Yeah. But that's interesting. It kind of shows that recording isn't a form of like documentation or defense or like in that instance it was the trigger for the cop to behave even worse, right? And obviously that's not always the case, but I think there's this thing where you hit what we were just talking about. You hit record and you self-censor. Now, for that cop, the record button was hit and he did the opposite.
Yeah.
And he directed that aggression towards the subject that he thought he could direct that aggression to because you had, in his eyes, done something wrong, right? Therefore, your body was like available for him to vent that frustration on. Yeah. The recording can often actually do the opposite, which is make people less inhibited. and sort of do more horrific stuff, almost to prove as though the recording doesn't matter. It's like I'm beyond the recording.
Yeah.
You can't touch me.
Yeah.
Or even like I want people to see this.
Yeah. Exposing privilege can make you aggressive. That's what I think was happening. Like, this is the privilege of obviously the policeman. You can get away with, pulling people over and wasting their time for absolutely no reason.
Yeah. And he always has up his sleeve, which he did, which is like call 8 cops, 6 cops out.
Yeah.
That will be here in like 10 seconds.
Yeah. It was strange. It was really strange. Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully that won't happen while we've hit record.
No,
it won't be.
No. But the it was a double recording because he was also recording.
Yeah.
Like, I think as soon as like they always say to you, and I can't remember that instance, but they always say to you, where's your license? So I just let you know that you are being recorded by the New South Wales government of policing. Do you agree to that? Like, yes, I do, officer. Do I look good? Hey. Do I look into your chest? Hey.
So Mel, do you consent to being recorded at the moment?
Yes, I do.
With a heavy heart. I mean, I'm sure the record button is going to bring out your inner punk, though. So that's okay. We can do that.
It always does. And interestingly enough, you sent me 3 quotes about a month ago.
Yes.
To look over.
Yes.
And I just read them today.
That's all right. Since this morning I deleted one of them, and I also I read a book, and I'm showing it because it's not really a book.
Can I have a look at
more of a pamphlet?
Like, every time I text you or something like that, you always say, "Hey, I've just read this book." Like, I just have to tell everyone this, right? Like, it's usually like after the 3rd or 4th text message. Oh yeah, this reminds me. I'm just reading a book on this now, and I'm like, fuck, this guy reads a lot. Like, I feel completely stupid. Like, I'm on Instagram a lot. Like, I have to say, like, I have an addiction, but your addiction is this.
Is that tiny book.
Iconology and Perversion.
Yeah, that's what I read. It's an old book from like 80s, maybe early 90s.
How does that make you feel?
What?
You said an old book, and I'm just looking how old this is, and it's 1988, right? Like, that's really old.
Yeah, I actually checked. I just Googled the author, who's still alive. But that was the first book he ever wrote.
Okay, I know I'm changing the subject. Can we go back to this? Can you
well, don't worry.
Take a snapshot.
I have shit to talk about, so don't worry.
Yeah. Take a snapshot of this right now.
Yeah.
But I just have to say this really quickly and do whatever you want with it. Like, I find it racist. This is my internal racism, like the policeman, right? And it was racist and all that stuff. And then he had to double his racism down by sending me the fine. Like, I find it, my racism is like when I try to do another culture's accent, but punching down, right? So now if I do a German accent, because I feel like German is punching up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm from the Black Sea coast. We're indigenous from that area. We're indigenous Caucasians.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Anything west of you is fine.
Yeah, anything above me is like up. Do you know what I mean? Punching up, right?
Yeah.
Anything below me, like, I don't want to punch down.
Yeah.
But like saying a German accent in German is punching up, right? If I'm in an Asian restaurant and I will try to read something off the menu, like in a Vietnamese restaurant, it's the worst. And I don't know I'm doing it. And I want to unlearn that. I want to say things in the most Aussified way. Like, it's in English. I'm reading it in English.
Yeah.
It's like I just bar heart war.
No.
Like, do you go into an Indian restaurant and go, I would have, I don't know.
No, I'm not going to try.
Now. But I'm talking about the intuition of doing it. That's the thing that I'm thinking about.
Yeah. But it's I mean, whatever. It's like a cultural appropriation or cultural like appreciation. Like, how do you square that circle? Yeah, look, I mean, I think I just badly pronounce everything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I slip into any accent.
Yeah.
I think I'm just bad at it.
So if you're in a Greek restaurant, moussaka, how would you say it?
It's probably
you're reading it.
I'd say moussaka.
Oh, that's good. I like that because you're saying it in bloody. That's what I mean. Like, that's why you're allowed to punch.
This is the advantage of only speaking one language, right? So I don't even think about it. I just like, oh, well, that's the only way I can interpret this word in front of me.
But I'm sure there's people that go in there and they go moussaka.
Yeah,
You know, like, can I say,
but I'm not a dickhead.
Yeah, I know. All right. So I'm a dickhead. All right. I'm a punk dickhead. Just, we go back to the book now?
Sure. I do often text you quotes and stuff, and that's purely to try and impress you. It's not because I'm sitting reading all the time.
No, it was good. My preparation, like your classes, I used to prepare by riding my bike to school,
getting arrested,
and putting your lectures on my earphones and listening to them if I couldn't make it, and then I would completely live in that moment and then walk into the class from that moment and then just go, whoa, this just happened to me, and this just happened to me, and it somehow turned into whatever your class was about. Like, I don't know if that's called something, magic or whatever. I could improvise, and that improvisational theory that was happening was amazing. Like, I really thrived off that.
Yeah, I think that's what makes a good course and a good teacher is that like every time you taught that course, it was different because of that journey. And like listening to it, and like understandably, most other tutors don't listen to the fucking same lectures over and over again. Your approach to preparation was to listen so that it was like resonant with what had happened in the world that week, or what we were talking about, or what we talked about after the lecture.
Yeah, whatever, keeping it current. Yeah.
So I think it's like, it is magical, but it's sort of like that. Actually, improvisation is not a bad term for it, because I remember this when I started teaching as opposed to now, is that there's a certain point when you realize you've done enough preparation, or you basically don't have to prepare because you're an improvisational musician, and an improv musician practices, but they practice by like reading books or being in the world and fucking observing the world through a critical lens. And you just trust yourself that when you get up on stage, you'll be able to improv something, and something will sound interesting and different. And that's always how I've seen your teaching and your approach.
Well, likewise with you. I know that you're kind of doing that because I've heard them every year and they're different. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. There is some hooks that you're going to, but I'm always learning about something TikTok. Different. About TikTok. When was the last time you logged in and looked at your TikTok?
I haven't since the last time we talked.
So you've got 900 views on one of them. I've been playing them. Been listening to them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's about 8 there. You should just keep on doing it.
I recorded 2 more this morning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that's what I did before you got here because you were late.
Oh.
All right, let's do what. Have you got anything else you want to bring to the table?
No.
Let's. Why not?
Why'd you pick the book up? I'm going back to that. I'm looking at it.
I'm getting there. I'm just trying to work out I'm in my head, man. I'm working out the pathway that we get here. Right. I'm in control of this fucking ship that's lurching all over the place. So what I was going to say is I did give you 3 quotes a month or so ago.
I loved how they sequentially led into each other.
Yes. And then I cut one out so they're no longer.
Which one did you cut out? Foucault?
I cut out the second one. No, I kept in the Foucault one.
What's her name?
Anne Stoller. I mean, I should never cut Anne Stoller, particularly considering
the cutting. It was about the cutting. Yeah.
It's a good quote.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it.
What? Okay.
There's no real reason. I just maybe I'll bring it back in. But let's start with would you like your quotes delivered to you?
Can you? Yeah,
I was going to print them out, but the printer was fucking fucked.
No, read it. I've got it on my phone.
All right, I'll read it.
I'll look at my phone while you're reading it because I need to understand them when you're reading them. Yeah, because I do this thing. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people do this thing because they said that to me. This was one of the responses of now. One of the feedback sessions from people that listen to us talk, which is fucking weird, right? It was that they love when I ask, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So you can re-explain it, and then I try to explain it in the most wrong way. They feel like they are me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I like, because I don't read the feedback.
There's got to be a way that you can turn it on, or we change the login or something like that so you can.
It's not so much that I just know that's going to be a trap for me. I both want it and I don't want it.
Yeah. It's like my honey. It's like, validation.
Yeah, but I want the smell and not the taste or something. I don't know. Maybe you can be my taster, and you can like send me the ones that you think are going to make me feel good.
I feel like I'm annoying you, like, because I remember when the first one we did, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've done like 10, right? But we've only released 3.
Yeah.
And if anyone's really listening, right? Like, no, you know, the reason why there's no episode 4, 7, that they're there, but we just release them in whatever order we want to. So just, you know, stop asking about that, because that's another one that they're asking about. And it's only 2 people that ask me anyway. But my whole point to this, right, is that I then text you, like I remember from the first one, I text you every half an hour, someone else has listened, like, you know.
Yeah, you're like, my notification bell.
Yeah. Like I'm constantly on Spotify, Spotify fucking podcaster, and I'm like refreshing. I go, oh, another listen.
But
text Tim.
Yeah.
Text Tim. Okay, maybe not now. I'll text Tim tomorrow.
The thing is, it's probably me listening. So we get this like feedback loop where it's just you telling me that I'm listening to the podcast.
I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah.
I'll stop texting you. I've stopped texting you. That's it.
What I was fucking going to say though,
was
what I like, and this is like unencumbered by feedback, when you connect the quote to like something in your life or like something else that you are deeply interested in that may or may not actually be connected.
Yeah.
But that when I can see that it sparks something in you and you pick it up and like go there, I really like that. I like it because I like the story, but I also like it because in my head I'm like, okay, how the fuck am I going to bring this back? Like, at what point do I wheel this fucking this fish back in and leave him flopping on the fucking sand so I can talk about what I want to talk about? That's what I like.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, okay, good.
So can you just get on this?
I'll read the fucking quote.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
This is Foucault. Effective. This is also, speaking of books that I do or do not read, this is just ripped from my honours student's paper, Lachlan Thomas. So big up for Lachlan. All right. Effective history deprives the self of the reassuring stability of life and nature, and it will not permit itself to be transported by a voiceless obscenity towards a millennial ending. It will uproot its traditional foundations and relentlessly disrupt its pretended continuity. This is because knowledge is not made for understanding, it is made for cutting. The thing that I want to focus on today is that notion of the cut and the cutting of knowledge in opposition to the understanding. Because effectively what Foucault is sort of saying here is the telling, the writing of history itself exists not for the production of epistemology, not for like knowledge, not for like understanding the world or who we are or anything like that, but rather it is a method for cutting ourselves into the world, you know, justifying our violence, our behavior, our history, our privilege, everything else, right? In other words, knowledge has the capacity to cut, which at a very basic level is the category, gender, race, whatever you want to say, and so knowledge becomes a way to make that cut. History becomes the knife, and I really like that. I don't like that, but I like that as an understanding of this, because where I wanted to go, why I actually cut out that Anne Stoller quote was because of, like, maybe not obviously, but you can understand how that applies to like processes of colonization, and pretty much processes of any form of institution that enforces or uses language in order to inscribe on someone law. And in fact, Kafka's novel, The Penal Colony, there's this, the punishment is that the law that you broke is branded onto your body. So the words themselves are cut onto your flesh. To me, that's a clear demonstration of what this cutting is. That it is the word, it is the category which is like seared onto your flesh and makes your body or your flesh legible, i.e. made open to be cut. So that to me is like something we've sort of talked about a little bit already on this form. I can't get the word podcast out of my mouth, but whatever this is, I think we've talked a little bit about that violence before. So what I wanted to trace it back to, which may maybe get us to this book, is Althusser, which was the third quote on Freud and Lacan, which he wrote in 1969. This is a paraphrase, not a direct quote, in which he writes, "Psychoanalysis is the price we pay for becoming creatures of language. The contract we make with language to gain the capacity to say certain things while the inability to say other things. Psychoanalysis is the inventory of what happened to us in virtue of gaining the power to speak. Not everyone can heal the wounds of becoming a creature of language." That's like,
Yeah.
when I read that, it was a beautiful thing, because I think to me, it gives me a really good understanding of the purpose of psychoanalysis. Because I've always been, I don't know about you, I've always been somewhat suspicious of psychoanalysis, mostly just because of being in an art theory school and being in the early 2000s. And being in an art theory school in early 2000, that was when we were rejecting Freud. We had an uncomfortable relationship to Lacan, but we mostly liked Lacan, but only if we applied it to like cultural, like to film or something, right? Or art in a direct sense. Yeah. But as soon as you started talking about the unconscious or the subconscious or any of those kind of constructs, there's like the legacy from Deleuze on of like being really kind of problematic, and being too modernist and all the shit that we were trying to like throw out. So why I like this is because it both talks to like the structure, i.e. language, the cut, right? The fact that like that is what language is doing. That's what words are in a kind of global sense. But then it also speaks to the trauma, which is that idea that not everyone can heal the wounds of becoming a creature of language.
Yeah.
And that to me is just such a powerful thing to like recognize, because that in itself is also structural, but also very, very personal.
Yeah.
Like one's capacity to do that or not, to heal those wounds, to heal those cuts, obviously also depends on how many times you've been cut, right? Yeah. And your response to healing, and at a certain point, the incapacity to heal. Yeah. What's interesting about what Stoller does, the quote that I took out, is that if knowledge is made for cutting, then there is also obviously the capacity for it to cut itself. Right? There's self-mutilation that can occur. Yeah. And so even within this like structure of trauma and structure of like a history of oppression through the cut, the archive that contains that history has in it is self-mutilating itself, right? And we've talked about this a bit before as well. It's like, what counts as an Australian, it changes like over time, or whiteness in Australia changes over time. That's because it's every time it's self-mutilating itself, right? Or grafting on a different organ or something like that. And so it by examining those cuts, one can also see how it's cutting itself, how it's like destroying itself. Yeah. And that's where something like psychoanalysis comes up and not only gives us like a way of thinking about that, but also a potential different field of knowledge, a different way of thinking about what knowledge could be in something like the subconscious.
Yeah. How I read that, I kind of see it as I bring into it my own kind of like history. Do you know what I mean? Not my own history, but the way I know history. And as soon as I hear the word history, I go, well, it's been written by the Eurocentric point of view, and that's problematic. And is Foucault's talking about that in a sense, where he's trying to bring in, like, can we rewrite history? There's no avenue for other histories because the way we read that history is from that one perspective, right? It's kind of in there, right? That's weaved through all those three quotes. That's how I interpret it. So the problem is the actual structure of language, and our unconscious and conscious is filled up with language. So we're void of those histories through that consciousness. And that's the psychoanalysis bit, right? And for me, that's the grey area, that's the mystique, that's the magic that we have in our day-to-day culture, like, being ghosted, ghosting, haunting, orbiting. All those words come into this place of the unconscious, Words do like solemnly hit a different note in everyone. Yeah.
Like Lacan says that the subconscious is structured like a language. And so I think there's this thing where language, it's just to kind of stick in the psychoanalytic phase for a second. There's a way within which language is obviously the symbolic, right? Because that's the purpose of language, is to name the desire, right? To put a word on a feeling,
or an object,
or an object, and at the same time, it is like once you zoom out to the structure, that's where the subconscious is. So in a certain sense, like what Lacan is saying is like there's no outside of language, or Roland Barthes says this, right? There's no there's no subject outside of language. Like language is the subject. Language makes the subject, and so there is no like it's kind of like what happened before the universe, right? There isn't the subject. There isn't a Mel before the word Mel. And in a literal sense, not in a kind of like theoretical sense. It's like literally the language makes the subject, and if that's the case, then the subconscious exists across and within that language. If we are thinking about access to subconscious, if we are thinking about those different types of knowledge that aren't about the severing or the cut, but about the connection and the projection. If I say I love you, right? It's like I want you to know what I mean when I say I love you, right? I want you to feel the feeling that I'm feeling of love. That's why I'm saying I love you. But really what I'm saying is I want you, I wish you could understand this feeling. But I know you can't. So what I'm saying is I know you can't understand what I'm saying when I say I love you. That slippage or that kind of like pain is the subconscious. It is the wound of being a creature of language. Language is both beautiful and traumatic because we have this incredible capacity to use it for me to tell you that I love you, and yet at the same time feel that you can't understand it. And me having to tell you means that there was a time in which I could have loved you without language that would have been pure. And that's what you're thinking, but obviously you're thinking that in language. There's no, that didn't exist and couldn't exist.
Exactly. So for me to sever that, I'll just have to say I love you too.
And that's the cut, right? The cut is actually not your rejection of my love. The cut is you simply replying, I love you too. And then it's like, oh, that just collapses it now. Now we know the cut, right? So that means that like we're exclusive to one another, or like that we understand that to love one another opens up this whole other series of symbols that we now move through. So we don't have to negotiate what it means for me to actually love you anymore. Because it's simply been returned.
So never return it.
Never return it, or like, I mean, you have to. Like, this is it. Obviously, you have to. There's no option. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to. There's that gap. There's the gap from both of you, because if you say you love me, it is also. I mean, if you're just saying it from a position of like actually like you think you feel it, and you think that you feel that I feel it, you are both actually in that moment expressing the fact that you can't reach that point of understanding each other. And so it's like we both have this love that is being directed towards one another, but we don't know how to combine this. Like we don't know like how to collapse that space between us. As
we were talking then, I'm not changing the subject, who I am. But I got a text message from Alex and he said lunch with the DB pod gang. We were just
a gang? Two people? Or is he making us a gang by including himself?
I don't know. I just thought I'd mention that to you, show you where my mind went for a second, where this light
popped up.
But I'm wondering, do we invite this guy in?
You can invite him. He won't come.
Okay, I will say, hi. We are on air. Fuck, that's such a technical. We are being recorded. We are recording as I'm sending this to you. Come in and be recorded with us for a moment. Anyway.
I still can't bring myself to bring other people in here.
No, you can't. See, I knew that. But I kept on testing it and you kept on saying yes to me. Why?
I'm a people pleaser.
I know this. I could, this is what I mean about feeling something, right? Okay, Alex said can't right now. Okay, we can wait.
Yeah, we're here till 1:30.
We're here till 1:30. Okay, sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. He just gave us an excuse there. But Alex was there. This is what I like about other people, though, because they're there. This is my whole analogy of Nico. I mentioned them to you. There's this fear. I can feel the fear. I have the same fear. That's what I want to tell you.
Right.
Like, I have the same fear of bringing someone into this space and talking to them, because what will they say? What do I ask them? Do we talk to them in a way that's prescribed? This is not prescribed. This is completely like we just spoke for half an hour about the red light on. Yeah. Right? We analyzed that. I got arrested. You read 2 quotes. Yeah. I messed those quotes up by interpreting them the way I did, right?
This is what
Alex texted me. Yeah. Right? This is
what DB10 is. And I think
so this is not a podcast.
No. It is because it exists on Spotify, but it's not in any sense that we're trying. What do you think about when you are trying to get to sleep and you're trying to turn your brain off? Do you have like a go-to place that you imagine, or like way to calm your head down?
Wow, it's a really good. This is how much phones have really come into my life, because I listen to music now. I'm trying to be distracted, but what I remember I used to listen to, my go-to place was creativity. I would make things. I would go, okay, this is the artwork I'm going to make, and this is how I'm going to make it. I hope I remember. Oh my God, that's the best idea. Like, I got to remember this. Fall asleep. I don't know what it was. I completely forgot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But I would write essays in my head. You know? Yeah. So before I sleep, I create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I guess for me, like, thinking of things to create or make would wake me up more. I don't like, if I do that, then my brain would start like running away with itself, and I can't fall asleep. Yeah, because what I do is I imagine walking into a mountain, like walking into a cave, and just like keep going and like trying to get to the center and like feeling that like darkness and cold, like the further that I kind of walk in, but also feeling the kind of safety of that kind of earth, that kind of surround, that like nothing, everything else becomes sealed off around me.
Like a guided meditation.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
Were you taught that?
No.
Like, did you listen to some, like, in the 80s, some tape?
No, I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But that is something that makes that. It doesn't always work, but it usually kind of helps me drift off to sleep. The reason I mention that is because that space, like in the middle of a mountain, is what I feel about DB10.
Yeah.
And I mean, it also has to be, has to be with the fact that this is in a basement and it is small and it's dark and all the rest of it.
So you go into a middle of a mountain. Wow. You know where I go? Sorry, because you led me there through your guided meditation. I'm on top of a mountain. There's this sandy patch, and I'm looking out onto the ocean, and I'm alone, right? And I talk to the wind. I can feel the wind from the ocean on me, and I talk to the wind, and I talk to my spirit guides.
Can I just point out, I did not laugh at that. You fucking smiled at me to make me laugh. I'm not insensitive.
I just wanted to say spirit guides to you. Look, as much as I am a punk, right? And I hate all that fucking yoga and spiritual shit. Like, I don't hate yoga. I think yoga is amazing. And but I would dance. I prefer dancing to yoga. Yeah. Like, if I'm going to try to
move your body,
move my body, that's who I am. I would dance. Do you know what I mean? But I am a sucker for those words. When I was little, I had God conditioned into me. I was never a believer in God, but I would walk past a church or drive past a church, and I would do the Greek Orthodox cross. And I go, why the fuck am I doing that? Like, and I'd have the whole why am I doing this? Like body mechanism thing, right? And then the older I got, I had my first near-death experience at 16 or 17, when I died and I watched myself outside my body, and then I went and bought crystals. And I walked into the shops in Newtown, because my sister moved into Newtown in the 90s, and it was like a weird punk place, and there was crystal shops and shit like that there. And I learnt Buddhism through the Western media, and I realized that, and I brought those into my HSC, like crystals. To make because I was fucking lazy. I didn't want to study, so I thought I could learn from the crystal energy, and read heaps of books about how to astral project. Never did, thought I did, right? Tried to, right? Until I came across one that I could be letting demons into my bodies when I'm out of my body. Like, fuck, it's don't leave your body empty. Like, fucking scare the fuck out of me, right?
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, this is not real. I will live in now I will live in my art reality, where I make up my own astral projections. I will live in this Guggen reality, this Geigen reality, this opposite reality, where everything that I say is wrong, and I will make that wrong funny. I will make that wrong right. I will make that wrong exist, because it only exists in this art reality.
The idea that you can kind of cheat it by being an artist, and bringing, like, you don't have to project, you can just make.
Yeah.
And that's and it is cheating in a bit, because you're kind of controlling it, right? You're making it for yourself. And I assume that's also when Mr. Fuck Art starts to emerge, right? That there becomes this way to not only project into the world through making that world, but also to birth another you, the art you, the artist, in order to live in and occupy that space. And that's an incredible power. And it also, as you said, kind of it's like a poetics. It's a way that when you use the wrong word, or you have this idea that that when the word tries to literally be cut by your tongue as it comes out of your mouth, that like you're constantly fucking that up, or like you're getting the symbolic universe of language wrong. The meaning isn't coming out. None of that matters when you just call it art, because it's sort of both you and not you, but also because you've let go of that, because you're projecting, like you're in a different universe, you're in a different space, and all you've done is gone to art school.
Totally. But I knew this stuff before art school. It was just revealed to me in art school. Like, I was a painter, right? Yeah. I went to art school as a painter. I found ceramics and printmaking and photography and all the other subjects that I had to do, right, in this weird way. And then I said, no, like, art is not painting, photography, or those other subjects. Art is my art history teacher, my weird Diane Lloyd, who spoke about Foucault to me for the first time, and you know, and I refused to read. I listened, like that's what I do. I listen, right, and I interpret. And I was like, no, I'm going to interpret this in this reality. And now I live in this reality. This is the reality that I now will live in. And yet it's like I'm doing that and still working in art. Like, call me an art teacher, but like I talk about this. I talk about this reality. This is what I teach, right? I don't teach fucking Picasso. And it's my way of being a punk in this world. Like, I pay taxes for that. I am totally communicating this, and I have devoted my life into this reality. My whole life, like my 51 years, right? And even like to that police officer, like it's my resistance to that world, you know? That's what I find fascinating, you know? That's why the record button is weird for me, because for me, what we're supposed to teach is that we have to document all this. Has to be documented. It has to be a product of somehow. But for me, it's not a product. And I'm trying to explain that to people. They go, "You're weird," but that's what I like. That if I am not weird, if I am not pissing someone off, if I'm not making someone laugh, if they're not walking away without a thought about being somehow in the art reality with me for a moment.
If you meet someone or through the process of being with another human being, for them to walk away feeling like they've encountered, maybe entered the art world that you created, right?
Yeah. It's like a porthole.
I guess the art we make is the portal. Right?
Yeah,
it's
that's
the
right.
thing that gets us into that space.
Yeah, the libidinal space.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And that's a really good way of thinking about it, because what I guess I'm trying to get to here is that desire, or that trying to like pull someone for a moment into the portal, or at least to be aware of the portal's existence, is another way of trying to get over the problem of language, trying to get over the like I love you thing, right?
Yeah.
How can you exist in the world and share something with someone that isn't that language-based model of the symbolic universe? And art, for me, is one of those things that, yes, obviously is part of a symbolic universe heavily, but there's a fraying or a slippage or a moment where the portal appears that is beyond that symbolic, the pure symbolic or the language, right? And there's a way within which you can connect with someone or bring someone through with you. And you're not using language at that point. It's like maybe like a material in front of you, or like literally like a movement of your body, or something that suddenly, or even just a kind of realization that you don't have to be productive. You don't have to do something in this moment because you're already in it.
Yeah.
And we're in it. And that's great. Like that's it. You don't have to say, and I'm struggling to say the words because there isn't a word for that other than just calling it art, right? Or
well, your body is art.
Yeah.
Okay, so your body is art. You call it performative if you want to, right? Like, but your body is art, and what you're doing inside your body to your body is the art.
Yeah.
Right, and you can bring people into that, right?
Yeah.
And they can see that, or they might not see that. I don't like photos of me. I don't like my voice recorded. I don't like re-listening to what I say.
An hour and a half in.
Yeah, I know. Look, I don't. I'm really conscious of it.
Yeah.
But I'm really... I mean,
I would be too if I had your voice.
Yeah. No, I'm serious. All right? I like... Listen to this.
Thump the table. Maybe in that quote, where at the end of the Althusser quote about the wounds of language, right? Becoming creatures, you cannot heal the wounds of becoming creatures of language. It does make me think the kind of pathway, and I want to kind of go there and then immediately go away from it. Is there is something there that speaks to something like art therapy, right? Where the act of making art is like non-verbal, and it is like an attempt to like express or move through something. One of those wounds. But that's, while in no sense saying that that's a good or a bad thing, it seems to be a good thing, maybe, although as soon as you put it into a discipline, who knows. But that's not really what we're saying here. What we're saying is that like art is not, it's not that art that comes after the wound. It's that art has always been there, as you said, right? It is something that we can connect with in a way that seems to be in excess of, or even like just outside of the way within which we try and hold ourselves together as a subject in the world.
I'm asking you, how do we get in touch with our non-language self? Fuck. Is that possible? Is that, I hate to quote like the unlearning bullshit that like, you know, the modernists were thinking about, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, how do we not communicate with ourselves through language? Yeah. Is that libidimal? Is that sex? Is that desire? Is that feeling? But how do we like tap into that without expressing that through language? I don't know.
I
don't know. Fucking hell. What's the point?
Fucking end it. I'm so glad you asked me that, Mel. Because that leads very nicely onto the book I just read.
Yeah.
Now, look, that is actually the question I wanted to ask today. And maybe the reason I'm interested in this is because we're using an audio medium where we're supposed to talk. And we are. And we've fucked around with the missing episodes of not talking and doing other stuff. And that might reappear in some forms and whatever. And I'm really interested in that. I'm interested in sound that may sound like words, but like the stutter or the word that attempts to emerge or disappears, or the murmur, etc.
Yeah, the space between, the lacuna of what we think we're doing.
Yeah,
right?
all that kind of stuff. I think that's really interesting. And so I am interested in asking that question, particularly in this forum. And we've talked a lot about language, and to me, it's because we've set ourselves up the impossible problem of trying to talk about something beyond language, or like be beyond language. Because remember, this is an artwork for us, so we're trying to make art here. And we've been talking for the last hour and a half about, other than the sojourn into Mel's arrest history, is how, like, the importance of art as something that can approach that space beyond language, which really means a space beyond a sense of stable self or self, really. And so it's impossible for us to do that in this space, and that's why I want to do it. But what I want to say is that if we look at art history, to use the history word, that there is the classic answer to that in aesthetic theory, which is the sublime. And so what I want to talk about is like the sublime from Kant, and then I want to then talk about perversion, because those two seem to be oppositional. So if we think about the sublime, right? If we think the traditional notion of the sublime, which comes through Kant, essentially it's the feeling of, it's the word that we give to the thing that's beyond words. So that's like the feeling, the aesthetic feeling of the thing beyond words. Now for Kant, obviously that's God ultimately, but for Kant, the primary, or one of the main examples he gives is the ocean. Yeah, so you look out to the horizon and it's this like infinite expanse.
Fuck.
Right? So
I'm Kantian.
You're sitting on top of the mountain looking
cunt.
at you're a cunt. You're an absolute cunt.
Yeah.
Which I've known forever. One interesting thing about that is that Kant never saw the ocean, right? He lived in a tiny town in Germany, never left it. So it's so fascinating that his earthenly material example was something he never saw.
I can't help this, but how would you say his name in German?
Yeah,
Kant.
Actually, apparently, we are all in the in our English language speaking areas call him Kant, but it's not how you pronounce the cunt. It is far closer to cunt than it is Kant. Yeah. Anyway,
depends on what part of
this is why sublime and the perversion is so close, right?
Yeah.
The sublime is the point at which concepts fail, or in the face of that, when something seems to be in excess of the symbolic universe and the symbolic universe is literally like the web that we weave around ourselves to hold ourselves together. And so when we're confronted by something which seems to not be able to be incorporated into that web or held by that web, then that's the feeling of the sublime. That's where language just as a set of symbols fails, because it literally, that symbol cannot incorporate the symbol of the sublime. And so Kant talks about this, and he talks about it, like he talks about beauty and stuff like that. It's not talking about beauty, but he's interested in the sublime, in that there's something that artists can play with, right? It's something that, nature is the best at it, but an artist can paint a pretty picture of a fucking ocean, which, let's be honest, that's all he would have seen, and then appreciate the raw majesty of the ocean. And if you can experience the raw majesty of the ocean, then maybe you get towards, like, the whole point is that beyond the horizon is God, right? So like you're supposed to be able to kind of get to that point. That's not that interesting. I've never really been interested in the sublime, maybe because I've never really felt it. I don't know, your probably near-death experience, would you describe that as sublime?
It was horrific.
Yeah.
It hurt.
Yeah. So no.
But I did have an imagination around it. Like, I'm convinced that I saw myself out of my body, and I was looking at people gathering around a person, and my curiosity was like, what's happening over there? And for some reason, like a dream, I pushed everyone away and looked, and as soon as I saw it was my face, I didn't actually see my face. My eyes opened up and I saw everyone looking at me. Yeah. Now, was that me in dreaming that? Well, I was like, out, like, being resuscitated or whatever. Was that the DMT? Was that my first DMT experience? When I say that, like, did my brain release some fucking chemicals, and because I was alive, I can, see that? There was no light, no bullshit. It really felt like I was floating around, Like I wasn't walking towards this group of people looking at me. I was floating there, and I, floated from above in, like it was just like that. And I knew right then and there that there is no life after life. There's void, like a void, because I was still connected to that body. Like that's when I became an artist, right? Like I was an artist before that. Like my teacher called me out and all that stuff, but that's when I like validated it for myself. If you can see yourself outside your body, we always say, we can always see our bodies from outside it, like, looking down to our bodies. Yeah. But I was kind of doing the opposite. I was looking at my outer body, recognizing my body. So it was fucking weird.
So like,
that's how I saw it.
That's really, really interesting, because one thing I was going to ask was, would one of those two be your language body? Like, where was
the way I'm describing it now, right?
Yeah.
It was a purely visual thing. It was like I was floating there, and I knew what happened. And after that, like this happened at school, year 11 or year 12, right? Can't even remember what year that was, 1989, 1988. Playing Aussie rules at PE. I didn't want to play Aussie rules. I'm a fucking nerdy kid, you know what I mean? And I got tackled with a ball, and my head hit the ground, and the ball wedged between my ribs, so I couldn't breathe. And then they didn't call the ambulance afterwards. I was put in the fucking sick bay, and I had a full-on concussion, and I was vomiting for the next 2 days. And it was bizarre. Yeah. Like it was just a bizarre. That's the story that came out from that, though. Yeah. Yeah. From the trauma of that. Yeah. That instant experience is like, wow, I have a duty now to whatever this body is. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah. I find that fascinating, because again, it's like that the body on the ground is like is that a kind of like raw material body, but then the way you described it, this thing is more complex than that.
It felt empty for a moment. And I'm just probably describing it now from my body. I was completely not in that body, and real people were aware that I was not in that body from the panic that was going on. Yeah. I've never felt void. Yeah. I've felt panic when I had COVID. Am I going to die? Yeah. I felt panic situations in my life before, right? I'm really ill and drunk, and I go, what the fuck is this going to be forever, or like on a really bad trip or whatever, But that was a completely different experience. That was like if you could feel void, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, because I want to go on to talk about Bataille, and then the counter sublime, which is like the formless. Yeah, which sort of sounds like that moment you had where you like there was this formless body on the ground. That you then kind of got back into. But it also makes me think about something I was reading earlier. And I was going to fucking send you a quote.
What were you reading earlier, Tim?
I was reading about the voice and the notion of the voice, and you said it yourself. You don't like hearing yourself. Right?
No. I like talking, but I don't like hearing myself. Yeah.
And this article was saying, that's very common. Like most people don't like the sound of their own voice. But the interesting thing that it said was that part of that, and I think maybe this goes a little bit to our struggle with language, part of that is that when you hear your own voice, it's sort of like looking at yourself in a mirror, but when you hear your own voice, it sounds strange, right? It sounds you don't associate it with you, and part of the reason is a very like auditory reason, which is that when you speak, that fleshy body that was lying on the ground is also producing the sound, right? It's getting fucked up in your head, in your nose, in your mouth, in your ear, in the rattling, in the heartbeat, and the blood that's pulsing through you. Once you hit the red button and play it back, all that's gone, right? So it's a different voice. It's not the voice you hear, which is why we feel uncanny towards it. Okay, fine. But there's also then, in that very moment of hearing that awkwardness or hearing that disconnect, that uncanniness of that voice, there's also the realization that feeling of unfamiliarity to your own voice is also the very voice that everyone else is far more familiar with than you. So it's like everyone else knows this, right? That's what people fucking think I am. But that's not how I hear myself. In the same way as a mirror, right? You can't look at yourself. And then when you catch yourself in a reflection, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, everyone sees me like that. That's not who I think I am. And the same way as me telling you, I love you. It's like, I can't tell you because even me saying the words, you're not literally hearing what I'm saying because I'm hearing something different when I fucking say it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's where something like art comes in as a material, as a fucking shit on the floor. And we're like, we can agree that there's shit on the floor, right? Because neither of us are talking. Neither of us are like looking at each other. We're looking at this other thing. And this shit is like now the thing that's talking to us. And maybe art becomes that kind of mediator, that broken mirror, that kind of like distorted recording that means that we can all accept the fact that we're not hearing and seeing each other. But through this other thing, we don't repair the image, we don't really see or hear each other, but we can approach, we can get closer because of this other thing that we might want to call art, which to me then becomes the Bataillean formless. Because if we then talk, I deliberately use the example of shit, right? Because I like shit in art. Like I always like anyone who does a dump in an art art gallery. I remember Brenner. Do you remember Alexander Brenner, the Russian artist, whose practice for a while was just literally to go into like the Louvre or wherever and just do a shit on the floor in front of a Van Gogh or something. That's just sublime.
But that's sublime to you.
Yeah, I know, but that's the slippage, right? That is sublime. It is sublime. It's sublime because I think shit is sublime. Like I think there's a way, and it's sublime because things like shit. So if we talk about Bataille, and I'm going to kind of then collapse, obviously, Julia Kristeva, etc., and I don't mean to, but whatever, who fucking cares? It's like the mucus from your nose when you're grieving. It's not the grief, but it's the stuff your body is producing when you're doing that. It's when you get a fucking AFL ball stuck in you, and your body goes limp. Right. It's so close to you, but it's not quite you, and so there is a still disconnect, like language. Like it's like words are not you, but they're trying to express you. On the flip side, mucus and shit is you. But it is also not you, but it's a different type of not you. Yeah. And so it opens up a universe of being able to approach you without having to use language. So shit, piss, vomit, all that kind of stuff becomes whatever. It becomes a way of me being able to connect with you. Maybe why sex is involved in here too, right? Because of that kind of bodily exchange of fluids and all the rest of it, where you still, it's not like you two become one or any bullshit like that, but there's a capacity to feel that lack in a different way to language. But where am I trying to get to? So what I'm trying to say.
You're blushing.
Am I?
No. That's interesting too, blushing, but we won't talk about that now.
I mean, blushing is again part of it, like those bodily reactions that you can't control. All that kind of stuff.
Blood rising to your skin.
Yeah.
Embarrassed, but why should you be embarrassed? Obviously you're not, so that makes me feel like there's like
real sexual tension.
But the fluidity, I really like that as a notion, as a visual, language as a visual. Shit is like language as a visual. Do you know? Because it's disgusting.
But these things, this is how the sublime and the baseless, or the sublime and the counter sublime, are connected. In part, you could imagine like the mucus that's coming, like when you're in that state, when your body is producing these things that you're not capable of controlling, and there's a range of scenarios where that's possible. You could suggest a narrative that is, in effect, that is a response to the sublime. That is a response to the category beyond categories. That is the response to the love that's not returned or is returned. That is the thing, like the moment. In other words, like the formless describes the moment our symbolic world collapses, and the sublime does that to us. But so does grief. Like so does just recognizing that we aren't whole, or like that connection is no longer there. And so I think like Bataille can't, despite trying to describe two very separate things, that the ended point that I wanted to get to here is that I started by saying Kant uses the ocean as the example of the sublime. Bataille uses the ocean as the example of the formless. So they're both using the same example to describe opposite concepts. And I think that's very significant, because where I really wanted to get to is perversion. Okay, let me give an example again. I'm going to use a painting, but whatever. Yeah. We're artists.
Yeah,
we can occasionally talk about it.
I get it. Yeah.
So I don't mean it to be
offensive. No, I want you to. Like, that's the thing about the art reality. Like, you have to talk about the porthole. Like, you have to talk about that entrance, right?
Yeah, just to get there.
Yeah. You have to talk about the perversion. Paint is fluid. It's wet.
Yes.
It's shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's disgusting.
It is disgusting.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And it's toxic and all those lovely, beautiful things. So the example given is the somewhat famous painting of Saint Sebastian. So that's the one with naked guy, arrows through him. Like very kind of often painted like kind of homoerotic, BDSM kind of la. And the author points out that what perversion is essentially is a form of fixation and fascination, like playing with your shit, right? Instead of flushing it away, trying to forget it, you start making artwork out of it. And he points out that with the example of Saint Sebastian is that what you get with these paintings is a depiction of a saint, right? In terms of a symbolic universe, a saint, God, Jesus. These are very fucking powerful symbols, yeah? But what happens is that the libido doesn't cling to the symbol. In fact, doesn't really give a fuck about the symbol of the saint, although, maybe that's how it's narrativized into a fantasy. But rather, that the artist slips in here because how does the symbol appear? The symbol appears because you need an artist, a human artist, to paint the symbol. In a perfect world, the symbol would just exist, right? Because then it's just a symbol. But for pedagogic tools, you need an artist to paint the saint. The whole point of that is supposed to be about teaching you the story of the saint, right? Not about the skill of the artist or anything else, really. But they want it to be good enough. So begrudgingly, the artist enters from stage left. However, what happens is that the artist is given the freedom, begrudgingly, not because they necessarily want to give the artist freedom, but just by the fact that it has to visually appear to do the detail, which is the perversion, right? So the detail doesn't matter because it's in excess of the symbol, or it seems to be in excess of the symbol. But it also does matter because with no detail, it's nothing. It's not an image. And so there has to be some detail to make it a man who's got arrows in him, right? So the artist invests as an artist, because artists are perverts in relation to an image, because we spend 100 hours on one image, right? Invests his or her libido into the detail, right? Into the perverted fetishization of the flesh as that arrow strikes through it, right? And us as viewers, we pick up, we are given the space to feel that libido through perversion, right? Through the fetish. And if you think about the fetish is like you fixate on the foot rather than the whole person. The church wants you to fixate on the whole person, on the symbol. But what we do when we walk into a gallery is that we fixate on the detail, right? On the perversion, because that's where the artists put their libido. That's where that kind of fixation exists.
But there's a sense of sexual interplay between the artist and the viewer. Unconsciously, you're saying, is it, or consciously?
Consciously, unconsciously. I think that there is desire, right? The desire of the artist when we make, in this example, we're talking about being patronized by the church to paint something, right? Which is most of art history, Western art history. I think in a lot of cases, artists were deliberately putting their desire in, even if they didn't name it as what it was, but it's in there because of the detail, because of this desire to paint it in a certain way. That every Saint Sebastian is slightly different, so that means the artist had an idea, right? So I think in that sense, there's a capacity for perversion to be, and fascination to be similarly connected to the sublime and the formless, something beyond language, right? Or let's put it more bluntly, libido, right? And again, just to read the quote, fascination, aesthetic or otherwise, is simultaneously a loss of will before the object and an investment of libido in that very same object. So fascination, right? So we, as an artist, we might approach something like a shit on the floor and be fascinated by that as an object. What fascination is a loss of will before the object, i.e. we feel powerless before the object in a way that like we're drawn to it, and the very us drawing towards the thing is us being possessed by the thing, right? It's drawing us literally towards it, and we feel that, and we know what that feels like as an artist. You're just kind of drawn towards something. It's both a loss of will and an investment of libido in that same object. So we are both being possessed and drawn towards it, but we are also drawing ourselves towards it. Like our libido is trying to find something in it because it senses that there's libido in the shit. It senses that there is desire in the arrow through the flesh. And in the book, it kind of gives the example of an artist who like went to see the painting wherever it is in Europe, and like masturbated in front of it, essentially, or like became very highly aroused in front of it.
Was that like, that's not a video Conchi thing? But
no, it wasn't even, it's not an artwork, it's not even a performance, right? It's just retelling of a narrative, a story of like the meaning of this painting to this person now. And it's like, I know that feeling, like I know that like investment in a painting, and being drawn to a painting and feeling that in front of a painting, and that thinking about it now is like a fetish or a perversion. Like it gives me hope around the way within which like libido can always be drawn from something. Because if you think about like the Saint Sebastian example, is like Saint Sebastian is just a fucking saint, right? Whatever. But every time it's painted, it can be re-inscribed with libido. Like the detail, the perversion, like the pervert always finds something new. They create it. Right, and that's the artist. Like that's the process of like getting the libido into the object. But is it in the object, right? Or are we putting it in the object? I mean,
who's the pervert though? Is it the viewer of the object or the artist?
I think that's the beautiful thing, because I think it's both. Because then it means that art can be a way for you to be a pervert and to feel perversion, feel like maybe you do feel like confronted by that perversion. Maybe you feel turned on by that.
Is that a masculine thing? I hate to say this. When you think of me, do you gender me? Like, am I a guy to you?
Oh, I guess so. Like, I mean, we don't live in a genderless world, so yes.
But do you know, like, there's some people that, like most people, I don't see their genders. I just see them, right? I see men, but I don't see my friends as men. But when you were talking then, I was thinking, is this a masculine thing? I don't know. I don't know. Or is it a universal thing? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, I guess it means,
like, is that perversion? Are we all perverted in the same way?
Well, not necessarily in the same way, but we're all perverted.
We're all perverts. That's what I want to try to say. Every single person's a pervert.
Yes.
It's just the degree. It's not even a degree in a perversion. It's what we are perverted to.
I mean, if we take the definition of perversion as a fixation on detail, then we're all perverted. Right? Because it is this capacity to infinitely regress into something and find more and more detail and more fascination. I think that the way within which the objects within which we are allowed to detail in that way are gendered, and I think the way within which we classify something as a fixation on detail or perversion is also gendered. So in that sense, like something might not be classified as a perverse fixation with detail. It might just be classified as like an obsession with gossip or something, right? So I think I think everyone is perverted because everyone is like everyone has libido, right? In a very like flat sense, everyone has libido. Libido exists or draws us into the world in completely different ways depending on everything. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is that like I feel that art has given me, just to talk personally, that art has given me the capacity to be a pervert.
Yeah.
It's the thing that the license, not the poetic license, the perverted license for me to be able to like make perverted work, which in some senses is just to spend too much time on something that doesn't mean anything until it means something.
Yeah.
But all of this is just, again, trying to escape, trying to find something, like beyond language, or like through language, but like through this obsessive like detail into a material or object or subject that at some certain point, if we get more perverted, like perversion is also, for me, there is like a closeness and intimacy, like because detail is, you have to get close to see detail, and so there's this like, if you are perverted and you want to get like fixated on popping someone's pimples or something, it's like that requires a certain intimacy and material closeness to the artwork or a person or an object, which we call gross or perverted. But to me, it's the same thing as me trying to tell you that I love you.
Yeah,
it's just another way of trying to get close to you.
I love that. I can see that, and the reason why I was like going there with the gender is I'm conscious of like, how do we speak without gender? Do you know?
When you say any of these words, being words cut into language that we're using, they are predominantly like understood and structured through capitalism and colonialism, and so therefore, and those histories, and so therefore they, like something like perversion, it's impossible for it not to be masculine, even though it's not. Like it's most definitely not, but it's because it's the word we use. It is. And that's the problem. Like that's one of the problems that we have here. But that's again why always I like to return to
the problem with Freud, right?
Yeah, which again, like, is something that why Freud gets fucking kicked out, right, in the 90s, is because it's like, wow, he's like so essentialist. It's like he's not essentialist. He's describing, he's not prescribing. But again, like, I completely get it, right? Because as you see what happens across the 20th century, one of the reasons you have to kick Freud out is because it's kind of true. Like it's sort of like the horror did happen, and we are left with these systems that we then need to completely destroy or deconstruct. So I think perversion is a way to okay, let's fucking go there in a sense that, like, I am interested in the destruction of my subjectivity, and I'm drawn to it and I'm terrified by it, but I know I keep going back to scratch that itch, right? I keep trying to unpick the web of my subjectivity, right? So that my body kind of falls out. And I want other people to see it and be fascinated by it. To me, that's like the perversion, the formless, that all these kind of the shit on the floor are all portals or pathways to a fraying or a fracturing of my sense of self. That's what I want. And do I want that because I think it aesthetically, I think it kind of looks interesting from the outside, or do I want it because if I can fracture myself in some way, does that offer the capacity, a possibility for someone who is also fractured, for us to combine, to come together? Like, it opens up an orifice for that fraying or a wound, for that, for those two things to come together.
I'm going to stop saying porthole. I'm going to start saying orifice. An orifice into the art reality.
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking with Whole, right? Haunted Office of Libidinal Economy, our institution.
Thanks for, now I get it.
Now you get it? That's what I was going for.
Now I get it. Terrible font choice.
I know.
It just reminded me of like 2012 or something like that. Like, you know,
I know.
Trying to make a business card. No, that's early 2000s. Did you ever have a business card?
No,
you didn't.
I was before. Sorry, slightly after that time. Yeah.
Is it just my gen?
I think it's pretty much.
I had a business card for being an artist.
Wow.
I had to do it because I had a friend called Alistair Nicholson. Do you know Alistair?
No.
A lot of people do. And he got into a weird printing business. And he just kept on, like I love Alistair, and you know, and you did this because we lived in a capitalist society and we had to sell shit to make shit, you know, I mean, to pay a rent and all that stuff. So I forgive you for like trying to sell me a business card, but it worked. He was a really good salesman, and he made a business card for me for being an artist. I never gave one away. should we
Business cards?
Let's make business cards. Sure. If anyone wants a business card,
can be one of the you were saying you were going to make Mr. Fuck Art artwork.
Yeah.
You should maybe start with a business card.
Yeah, or just make business cards for people again.
Oh, right.
Yeah, as artwork.
Like that.
Like they're not allowed to tell us what they want.
No.
Because that then turns into a design area. Like you go, I would like a business card, and then we just give you one.
You know, one of my
don't give me your details. I don't want to know.
No. That's
your phone number. You're just going to get a card.
Yeah. So I'm cutting you off because I have to go soon. But
okay.
I was going to say one of my artworks was that back for Fuck the Artist actually was I would write love letters for people, but all they could tell me was their name and the name of the person they wanted and their address, and I wrote the letter on behalf of that person and sent it to them. I didn't want to know any context or details. I would just write a love letter to them, and I got quite a few people. Not quite a few. I probably got about 6 or something that I did.
That's great.
Have you still if anyone wants to do that, I probably I can say
I want one, but
I know
does that count?
No, it needs to be someone I don't know.
Okay. Before we go, this is there's a part 2 to this that we'll never get to, but I really like I was hypnotized. Then I could see the visuals of Saint, what the fuck is his name?
Sebastian.
Saint Sebastian with the arrows and the blood. I was actually getting really turned on, like when you were talking about that. Like I was tingling.
Yeah.
And you were kind of doing that through your voice, like, through language.
Yeah.
I didn't want to gender it because I don't see gender in it, but then I saw gender in it. Like I saw, and when I see the male gender, when I see it, like that perversion disappeared and it appeared, and I have a struggle with it because of the whole construct of sexuality, way I was constructed in the world and blah, blah, blah. But I want to decolonize that. I want to talk about that more through art, through the medium of the visual as well. Yeah. All right. Should we end it there? Yeah. Oh, no. What do you
No. I was just going to say that's beautiful. I like being aroused by someone's voice. I think it's I think that's part of it. I like that. I've always thought of I do not, as the narcissist, I do not have that strangeness attached to my voice. Yeah. But I've always thought I had a good radio voice, which meant that I always thought I had a sexy voice. I feel like that my voice that is separate from the inner recording or something. I don't want someone to sit and hear me like you are.
Yeah.
It's not me because it's my voice, right? It's my recorded voice. It's not what I'm hearing. I know it's not what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that separate thing to me has this libidinal like capacity.
So like the detail that you're talking about.
Yeah. The detail. Yeah. So just keep talking and talking.
Yeah.
All right, let's end it.
I like that.